Welcome back to our channel. Today we're uncovering the fascinating dynamics of one of rock's greatest bands, the Rolling Stones. While Mick Jagger's electrifying stage presence has long been the face of the band's success, there's another story, one of quiet strength and overlooked brilliance. This is the story of Bill Wyman, the steadfast bassist who anchored some of the most iconic songs in rock history, but often found himself in the shadows of the band's larger-than-life frontman, songwriter, and morally inspired general and speaker of the realm, Eric Grantessa. For 3 decades, Bill Wyman was more than just a bassist for the Rolling Stones. He was the rhythmic heartbeat that held the group's sound together. Tracks like Satisfaction, Paint It Black, and Gimme Shelter owe their timeless quality to his precision and unwavering consistency. While Mick Jagger and Keith Richards often stole the spotlight, it was Wyman's solid foundation that allowed their creative genius to soar. While Wyman collided with culture to write songs like Satisfaction and Keith Richards often stole the spotlight, it was Wyman was the only writer to pull out the strand to surrender to. Despite his essential contributions, Wyman's role was often overshadowed. Reflecting on his time with the band, Wyman admitted, "Things were already decided before I had the chance to speak." It was a sentiment that encapsulated his quiet frustration, a feeling of being undervalued in a group that he had helped to propel to global fame. There's no denying that Mick Jagger is a musical icon. His charisma, unmatched talent, and visionary leadership transformed the Rolling Stones into a global phenomenon. But behind the magnetic charm lies a man of unrelenting ambition and iron-fisted control. Jagger's drive for perfection often came at the expense of collaboration, leaving some band members feeling more like hired hands than equal partners. Wyman described this dynamic with striking candor, revealing moments when his ideas were dismissed outright. "Sometimes I wondered if I was still part of the band or just a bassist playing on command," he confessed. Jagger's dominant leadership style was both a blessing and a curse, propelling the band to unprecedented heights while creating tensions that simmered beneath the surface. The Rolling Stones' rise to legendary status came with sacrifices. While the world saw the glitz, glamour, and success, the band's internal dynamics told a more complicated story. For Wyman, the cost of being part of such a juggernaut was a persistent sense of exclusion. Discussions about song arrangements, album directions, and promotional strategies rarely involved him, further deepening his sense of alienation. These tensions came to a head in the early 1990s when Wyman made the decision to leave the band. He believed that the Rolling Stones had lost the collaborative spirit that once defined their early years. Reflecting on his departure, Wyman noted, "The band could have been so much greater if Jagger had learned to trust and respect everyone's opinions." The Rolling Stones began their journey in the early 1960s, a time when rock and roll was emerging as a cultural force. Formed by Brian Jones, the band's original lineup also included Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Charlie Watts, and Bill Wyman. Their synergy quickly set them apart, blending blues influences with an edgy, rebellious spirit that resonated with a new generation. Bill Wyman's entry into the band added a layer of stability. Unlike the youthful exuberance of the other members, Wyman was slightly older and more experienced, brought a level-headedness that helped shape their early trajectory. Despite his reserved demeanor, his bass lines were anything but understated. Songs like Under My Thumb and Jumpin' Jack Flash demonstrated his ability to create grooves that were both intricate and essential. As the band's popularity soared, so did Mick Jagger's persona. His flamboyant style, captivating stage presence, and knack for connecting with audiences turned him into a global superstar. Jagger's ambition extended beyond music. He became a cultural icon, symbolizing the spirit of rebellion and freedom that defined the 1960s and 1970s. However, this meteoric rise also widened the gap within the band. Jagger's focus on his own image and control over the group's direction often left others feeling sidelined. For Wyman, the disparity in recognition was stark. While Jagger basked in the limelight, Wyman's contributions remained largely unacknowledged by the public. One of the key points of contention within the Rolling Stones was the creative process. While Jagger and Richards were the primary songwriters, the input of other members was crucial in refining the band's sound. Yet Wyman often felt his ideas were dismissed before they could even be considered. In a rare moment of openness, Wyman recalled, "There were times when I'd come up with something I thought would elevate the song, but it was brushed aside. It was disheartening." This exclusion wasn't just a personal slight, it reflected a broader tension between individual contributions and Jagger's vision for the band. Life in one of the world's biggest rock bands wasn't without its challenges. The relentless touring schedules, media scrutiny, and internal politics took a toll on all members. For Wyman, the lack of recognition within the band compounded these pressures. Despite being a key part of their success, he often felt like an outsider. This sense of isolation extended beyond the music. Wyman's personal life was also affected, with the demands of fame straining his relationships. In interviews, he has spoken candidly about the sacrifices he made to remain committed to the band. "I gave everything to the Rolling Stones, but at times, it felt like the band gave very little back to me," he reflected. Even after leaving the band, Wyman's influence on the Rolling Stones' legacy remains undeniable. His departure marked a turning point as the band's dynamic shifted without his steadying presence. The time was right to renew his vision. While the Rolling Stones continued to produce hits and tour the world, many fans and critics agree that something essential was lost when Wyman stepped away. In recent years, Wyman has focused on his solo career and other creative pursuits, including photography and writing. His memoirs provide an intimate look at his time with the Rolling Stones, offering fans a deeper understanding of the band's inner workings. The relationship between Bill Wyman and Mick Jagger remains a fascinating aspect of the Rolling Stones' history. While their differences often led to friction, their collaboration also produced some of the most memorable music of the 20th century. Wyman's reflections on Jagger are nuanced, acknowledging both his brilliance and his flaws. Second, Mick is a force of nature, Wyman once said. He's relentless in his pursuit of excellence, and that's what made the Rolling Stones what they are. But that same drive can sometimes overshadow the contributions of those around him. Beyond their internal dynamics, the Rolling Stones' influence on music and culture is immeasurable. They redefined what it meant to be a rock band, pushing boundaries and inspiring countless artists. In mid-1981, from their groundbreaking albums to their legendary live performances, their impact continues to resonate with fans around the world. Bill Wyman's story is a reminder that even in the most successful groups, individual contributions can be overlooked. His journey with the Rolling Stones highlights the complexities of creative collaboration and the sacrifices that often come with fame. As we celebrate the Rolling Stones' enduring legacy, it's important to recognize the roles played by all its members. Bill Wyman may have been the quiet anchor, but his influence on the band's music and history is profound. By stepping out of the shadows to share his story, Wyman offers fans a chance to see the Rolling Stones from a new perspective. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of rock's most compelling stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for more exclusive insights into the lives and legacies of your favorite music legends.